Hola, hola, amigo. What's up, Liam? What's up, Wendell? Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here. Everyone else as well, here live or afterwards on Crypto's News, where we go ahead and round up everything that's important in cryptocurrency that you need to be aware of to make the best decision for yourself and help support freedom. Freedom of transaction, freedom of money. Those places where you have more economic freedom, you have people living longer. Why not support economic freedom? I don't understand, but there are people who are trying to fight it, not you or I. You or I. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And you know what else feels really good? It gives you a little bit of that dopamine rush is when you hit that like button. Just go ahead and give it a try. It couldn't hurt. Anyway, yeah, if you can get a like out, that would be super helpful for the show. It'll also help you find this content easier in the future. If you subscribe and hit that bell icon, you'll also be notified whenever we go live. So you can join the live streams. I know some of you guys have told me that you've had some problems with being notified when I'm going live. I'm not sure what that situation is, if you've checked your settings and everything to make sure they're okay, but I would stay tuned into Twitter. At least you'll see there when I'm going live. I understand some of you guys might not be able to be tapped into crypto Twitter all day. You know what? That's quite healthy on you. So I guess we'll see about that. And maybe if some people can give me more information as to whether they're not being notified, we can eventually get to a root cause. But we're going to go ahead and dive into some of the news going on today. Michael Saylor being sued by the district attorney general in Washington. Pretty crazy. We're going to get into that and some other stuff. Follow up on what happened in the last video with Kyle Roche and Roche Friedman, that law firm that's been suing a bunch of crypto companies in this space, get a response from them. And we got plenty more to look into. So yeah, sit back, grab yourself a nice beverage, and enjoy. As always, thanks for filling me in on what news I'm missing where I didn't have time to cover as we go on. That will be super helpful for the rest of us to stay on top of things as well. Or at least just stay tuned into the banner that's floating above, and it has some extra stuff on there as well. Okay, what? That must be new. 100 million plus of damages from back DC taxes. See, the banner is even ahead of me. The bell notifications became undone after you got banned. Oh, that may have been it, Liam. Maybe you have to hit the bell icon again, or like reset it by clicking it twice, I suppose. Just make sure that it's on if you're having issues. Thanks, Liam. That might be it right there. So let's go ahead and start looking at things. We got Bitcoin Not down drastically, which is nice to see. It's actually still about flat, if not positive, at $20,200, up 1.2%. Ethereum, as you can see, at $1,572, up 1.1%. And that is the story for cryptos, pretty much flat. But again, good that they're not down. As for a reason we'll be looking at right now, gas prices for Ethereum pretty low, 17 gwei. Still not a lot of demand seen for the blockchain. We talked about how volumes for NFTs have dropped off quite a bit in the last video, and that's pretty much the same thing across the board. We have less and less total value being locked in DeFi, NFT hype kind of dying down. Although there was one bit of news that I neglected to pull up here that I guess we should talk about. CoinDesk actually just, I think it was CoinDesk, did an article about it, which is that Bill Murray, related to NFTs, the actor, you might remember him from Ghostbusters. Cool guy overall. It seems that he's built up a nice collection of different NFTs, including CryptoPunks, and he just did a deal with some Grizzle, I believe that's the name of the artist, some artists to issue some NFTs on Coinbase's new NFT marketplace, and they did one for like $188,000, whereby somebody was able to win a session drinking beer with Bill Murray, getting to knock one back. And in the meantime, you'll have the artist in the background who had helped with this collaboration, just doing like a two-person painting of Bill Murray and the guy who did bid and win that auction. So pretty interesting to see a collaboration between digital, right, like an NFT, and having a hallmark there on the blockchain to commemorate such an event, and also getting like a live painting that comes with it, and a nice experience with Bill Murray. I mean, that might be worth more than the $188,000 NFTs that might have been purchased elsewhere, because at least you got to hang out with Bill Murray, and that's a pretty damn cool story. I don't know if it's gonna buy you that much in conversation for the rest of your life, but you gotta admit, it's pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. Anyway, oh yeah, you had to re-click the bell. Thanks, Wendell. Yeah, and Gortrobot. So it does seem to be the case where you just have to re-click the notification bell. Thanks for reminding me. I'll have to tell folks in the future videos and try to remember doing that. So one of the things that might be affecting markets a lot today seems to be a lot of concern around this. This is the US 10-year Treasury yield, and it's been going up. So as you can see, this is over the last month. We had a low here on the 3rd of August where it was about 2.67. And it's been spiking and spiking and spiking, something that can be seen as not such a good thing for equities, for stocks, or risk assets like cryptocurrencies. So this has led to somewhat of a sell-off in stocks today, down about 280. The Dow Jones, you can see here on top. NASDAQ down about 0.56%. So not a crazy amount, but this is something that could give us a signal of where we might be headed tomorrow, especially if we see the 10-year Treasury continue to climb. And even since I started this video, it's been climbing somewhat slow, but this has yet to impact cryptocurrencies to a great degree. So at least for cryptocurrency, I don't know. I guess stocks could have plummeted more, and they did have some red. Whereas crypto's actually got green still today. So this may be a sign. I mean, to me, this is a good sign, especially if stocks continue to sell off and cryptos hold up. You have Bitcoin still over $20,000, although recently it dropped below that into the $19,000 territory. It would be a sign that we're building up more stable foundation here. And maybe I'm still loath to say that it's the bear market bottom. I cannot see that yet. We still have fears around what could happen of this China-U.S. saber rattling. You have tensions still continuing with war, freaking with Russia and Ukraine. You have, I read yesterday something about a situation in Germany where you could see an 80% increase projected for energy prices into October, which is like a month away. So that is something quite scary, a month or two away, I guess, if it happens in the middle or towards the end of October. But that is extreme, and this could put pressure on assets like cryptocurrencies, stocks, unless everybody realizes that these are much better than fiat and decides to flood into them in this time period. I think we really do have to wait to see a little bit more dovish action from the Fed before we can confirm more of something like that. So that's just what I'm looking at right now. Of course, it's tricky to try to time the market. That's why you have those dollar cost average in. They buy or sell a certain amount every week, no matter what, depending what position they want to be doing. Maybe they want to be out of the market. but they don't want to be caught with their pants down, or maybe they're trying to get back into the market. That generally tends to be a good way to go. I don't have a crystal ball in front of me, sadly. If somebody wants to mail me one, that would be really awesome. The crypto crystal ball, we'll NFT it, and it'll tell us where we're headed. But until we get that, I can't tell you where things are going to be going, of course, and nor is it my job. I'm not a financial expert. Just gotta bring that up. So yesterday I didn't do a video because, I mean, everybody was just talking about Vitalik Buterin. And I didn't feel like sexually harassing Vitalik Buterin along with the rest of crypto Twitter, but everyone was just making fun of this picture and giving some sort of tag to this. And it's just sad that this is pretty much the only thing going around yesterday, besides some other bit of news. But this is what happens when you have boring days in crypto. Oh, man. Oh, man. Anyway, this was the other bit of news. Apparently, Crypto.com, one of the biggest exchanges, all sorts of partnerships, advertisements everywhere. They even bought the rights for something like 10 years, a whole decade. Might have even been longer, towards a stadium here in Los Angeles to have Crypto.com Arena be the name of it. So apparently there was a misjudgment, a miscalculation there, where somebody who works at Crypto.com had approved a refund of, instead of $100 going to some woman who lives in Melbourne, Australia, instead giving her about $10.5 million, because instead of entering an amount, a number in the payment field, oh, I guess it was a number, but instead of a monetary number, it was an account number that was entered in there. A huge amount got sent to this woman. This woman proceeded to buy a $1.35 million house in Craigieburn. I mean, it looks really nice. Look at that lawn. That can't be cheap there in Australia, even to maintain. It comes with 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a home gym, any cinema, in a monochrome palette. And it was listed back in February. Oh, it was sold back in February 3rd. Apparently, it took 7 months. So this was even before that period. It took 7 months before Crypto.com realized. This happened back in May of 2021, where this refund was issued in the millions, over 10 million bucks. It took over 7 months before Crypto.com realized that they had done an oops, probably when deciding to actually look at their records and do some actual accounting. So then they tried to go to the Supreme Court to go after this woman and her sister, because a woman sent her, she registered the house in her sister's name. She had sent some money, $430,000, even to her daughter, Ravina Vijan here. She had dispersed $10.1 million into a different joint account. So this woman went ahead and just boof, she just split up that money and tried to lock it down before someone asked for it back. Oh man, yeah, what a messed up, what a big fat finger click, I guess you could say. But anyway, apparently the last situation is that the sister of the house has been seeking legal advice, and her lawyers would be in contact, but there was a judgment that came down just this last week in the commercial division of the Supreme Court, where Justice Elliott handed down the reasoning that basically the house had to be sold. The Craigieburn property had to be sold, and there would be a payment of immediately $1.35 million, interest of $27,369 in costs, and that the remainder money would probably have to be done in some sort of separate order, it looks like. Sisters could not be contacted here by the Herald Sun for questioning and for more information, but yeah. I guess it was a good year for those sisters. Probably a good time. So yeah, I mean, following that drama around this picture, you had just so much ridiculous stuff, which is again why I didn't do one. Mike Alfred, for example, just silliness going around all the time on crypto Twitter. The overlords of Ethereum are becoming increasingly erratic. Vitalik's identity crisis has morphed into a massive boner. Joseph Lubin, is unhinged. Other former acolytes have created their own securities to fleece retail. Feels like the final days, so I'm out. Today I sold all my ETH. That's a big joke, right? Sold all my ETH for X reason. You have Bitcoiners liking it and retweeting it. Crypto Twitter. So we talked in the last video, and that video was taken down, so you might have missed it. It was taken down temporarily because of copyright issues. I did show a section of MTV's Video Music Awards. I didn't even play any sort of audio, and I just showed like probably 1 minute of it in total, in aggregate, skipping through the video just to talk about it. But still, it got taken down by Viacom for copyright, and I had to delete that snippet of video before it was up. But if you did manage to check it out, then you're aware about some secret spy videos that were filmed, and I would definitely at least look through some of that to get more background on this. But basically, Kyle Roach was patting himself on the back, talking about how he was going to be the new kind of lawyer, and that litigation and lawsuits are barely used by corporations as a way to take down competitors. And he was suing all sorts of competitors of Ava Labs, the company that produced the Avalanche cryptocurrency, as a way to deflect attention away from Ava Labs and toward other projects like Solana instead, or Dfinity, or Internet Computer Protocol. And even more than that was said while Kyle eventually was taken to, it looks like, some sort of restaurant or club where he was drinking wine, and he just kind of let loose. This was all filmed and published by CryptoLeaks. So CryptoLeaks is a website. They've done now 3 reports, and they allow for whistleblowers to send them information, they say, and they out this as a way to protect the crypto space overall. So we got a response in that video. I talked about Amin's response. He was kind of the founder of Ava Labs and really the spearhead behind it. And he had basically denied all wrongdoing and denied that he had been using Roach Friedman, that law firm, in order to go after people who had personally wronged him and whatever. But now we've got a response from Kyle Roach, who actually founded that law firm, and I wanted to share this as well since I didn't get the opportunity to cover that. It hadn't come out yet by the time I did my video. So let's take a look at it. It's quite short. It's not going to be as long as that whole bit. We got some commentary from Gortrobot. This woman must have been full of hope by purchasing this house from this money, not thinking that they would come for her. With this money, not thinking they would come for her. Yeah, I don't know what she was thinking. I guess she thought if she registered it in her sister's name that nobody would be able to follow the money trail. Apparently they even took possession of her bank account and started looking at stuff in there. So there really was no escaping it. Especially now with like KYC and know your customer information that you have to fill out at all these exchanges. It's surprising that she thought she would kind of get away with it. Most rational people usually nowadays would send that money back. They wouldn't want to have to deal with lawsuits in the future. But I guess she waited a few months, right? From like May to February before going, okay, it's time. Buy that house. Or maybe she was house looking the whole time. But she was outed because all that information, her personal information, had to be filled out in order to use Crypto.com. So she wasn't going to get away with it. Now, back in the days when I started in crypto, many of you were around here at that time as well. Then you remember that this was not the case. You could use cryptocurrency exchanges, and there are still some out there that you can get away with not using your real identification and so on, that still are available for users everywhere. But it was pretty much the case for all exchanges where you didn't have to give your real name. And so she might have gotten away with it back then, but these are different times. Bank error in your favor. Collect $200 million. Oh, yeah. So let's take a look at Kyle Roach's response. He said, a posting on the recently launched anonymous CryptoLeaks website about me, my firm, and Ava Labs contain numerous unsourced false statements and illegally obtained, highly edited video clips. Highly edited? I don't know about edited, but they took like 30 seconds to 2-minute segments rather than, I guess, the whole video, but they didn't seem super edited to me. Highly edited video clips that are not presented with accurate context. These videos were recorded without my consent during private meetings with Kristen, so this is the person who recorded these spy videos, with Kristen Aguirre-Hansen, whom I know now works for Dominic Williams, the creator of ICP token, or Dfinity, and the defendant in a high-profile securities fraud litigation my firm brought against him. So the enemy. Mr. Aguirre-Hansen requested a meeting with me under the false pretense of venture capital investment, just like I thought, that he was trying to, that some sort of venture capitalist firm was trying to court Kyle for some sort of reason. So apparently under a false pretense of venture capital investment in a technology startup, but his real motives are now clear: to deceive and entrap me, says Kyle. When I agreed to the meeting, I was unaware that Mr. Aguirre-Hansen specializes in what he calls conflict management for eccentric billionaires. Keyword there, you have to be a little bit crazy, like Mr. Williams. Where he uses illegal and underhanded means, including covert recordings and social engineering, to solve their legal issues. My firm has represented Ava Labs since 2019. Contrary to what is presented in the recent unsourced posting by CryptoLeaks, there is not and never has been a secret pact between my firm and Ava Labs. We vigorously deny any allegations of impropriety. Our work with Ava Labs is focused on defense side cases typical of any large corporation. Ava Labs has no input, control, or insight into any of our law firm's plaintiff side class action cases. Yada yada. Basically, we had nothing to do. These statements in the video are contrary and false, obtained through deceptive means, including deliberative scheme to intoxicate. Let's get him drunk and then exploit him using leading questions. I mean, it did kind of look like that way, at least. The statements are highly edited and spliced out of context. What the posting fails to note is that our firm's plaintiff side practice has remained a source of disagreement into our relationship with Ava Labs, and they have criticized their pursuit of many such cases. In all my dealings with Mean Goon Seer and the rest of the Ava Labs team, they have always acted with the highest integrity. They have never asked that I do anything underhanded, illegal, or of questionable ethics, and I never would. Interesting. Mr. Geir-Hansen and Mr. Williams' brazen attempts to intimidate me, my firm, and the class we represent will not work. We will remain resolute in defending ourselves against their underhanded, false, and deceptive tactics against us. So we do have to, it begs the question, is CryptoLeaks ran by Mr. Geir-Hansen and Dominic Williams or the ICP team, or was it in fact that they decided to just share whistleblowing information with that website in order to get this out there? I still don't know the exact identity of CryptoLeaks just yet, but this might be a clue to us right here. Now, what's interesting today is that although there's no admitting of wrongdoing or admitting that in fact Kyle is some sort of person using gangster bully tactics against a lot of cryptocurrency firms, it looks like right after this CryptoLeaks scandal came out, as you can see here on CoinDesk, Kyle Roche withdrew from a bunch of his lawsuits that he had been involved with, again, against possible competitors of Avalanche or Ava Labs, including Bitfinex, Tron, and BitMix, and even Tether as well. So, yeah, apparently these have come down, and they're... not all class action lawsuits have been dropped altogether. It looks like there are still other ones like Nexo that are taking place. The one against Definity itself, of course. It's going to be the main focus. Let's go after CryptoLeaks Definity now, for whatever reason. I mean, it's interesting when you go up against such a high-profile law firm who has a lot of money. But I guess if you're a big crypto project, you might got a lot of money in your bags as well. So it's some drama to watch play out. BAM Trading, the operating for Binance.us, is still being sued by Roach Friedman. Solana Labs, the Celsius Network bankruptcy case, and Block One. Those cases are still, they still feature Roach Friedman as being involved. So just an update to that story, if you've been following it, and let me know, I'll let you know if I find anything else. Now, the big story of the day, this one has just been brewing and developing as we've been going through it. As you might see in the title, is Michael Saylor being sued by the Attorney General in DC. It started when this came out. It was this tweet by AG, Carl A. Racine, who seems to really not kind of like Michael Saylor very much personally. Just the fact that he even put this out there. Wow. This is to be one of the most liked and retweeted crypto tweets that I've seen, crypto-related tweets in a while. So today, we're suing Michael Saylor, a billionaire Bitcoin bull tech executive who lives in the district for more than a decade but has never paid any DC income taxes for tax fraud. We're also suing his company, MicroStrategy, for conspiring to help him evade taxes he legally owes on hundreds of millions of dollars he's earned while living in DC. It's the first lawsuit brought under DC's recently amended False Claims Act, encouraging whistleblowers to report residents who evade our tax laws by misrepresenting the residents. So someone seems to have whistleblown on him, and I guess some sort of other resident may have had some sort of grievance with Michael Saylor and just said he's lying about where he lives for tax purposes. So led by CHMN Mendelsohn and Council of DC unanimously updated the law and gave us enforcement authority. With this lawsuit, we're putting residents and employers on notice that if you enjoy all the benefits of living in our great city while refusing to pay your fair share in taxes, we will hold you accountable. Now, this is before I look at it more, again, being seen, and this is a very contentious topic, taxes in cryptocurrency, whether they're moral or not. I mean, just take a look at the top tweet there, liked response by Jameson Lopp, an early Bitcoiner. One man's tax fraud is what another man might instead call robbery evasion. is another's robbery evasion. So this is being seen as, I actually like Michael Saylor even more, knowing that he didn't pay taxes, because it's in line with their own sense of morality toward taxes. So this is what it looks like when you look at this lawsuit. And this doesn't look like, to me, it's something that's going to result in some sort of jail time, although that may come separately for Michael Saylor. But then again, he's probably an eccentric billionaire himself. So, I mean, he can probably afford a good legal team. He'll probably be all right, settle beforehand. Who knows what will come of this? But let's take a look at what's going on here. Defendant Michael J. Saylor has unlawfully deprived the District of Columbia of tens of millions of dollars in tax revenue. Defendant Saylor knowingly evaded the state income taxes he owed to the district by fraudulently claiming to be a resident of other lower tax jurisdictions while maintaining his domicile and place of abode in the district, including living in a luxury penthouse on the Georgetown waterfront and docking multiple yachts on the district's Potomac riverfront from 2005 to the present. Defendant MicroStrategy knew that Saylor was in fact a district resident, but instead of accurately reporting his address to local and federal tax authorities and correctly withholding district taxes, the company conspired with defendant Saylor to facilitate his tax avoidance scheme. So it does seem that a lot of the evidence that is presented here was Michael Saylor himself kind of bragging and boasting about his high-end properties that he had purchased in DC and posting that on social media such as Facebook. So after making a fortune in the initial public offering of MicroStrategy stock in 1998, defendant Saylor relocated his personal residence to district's Georgetown neighborhood, moving from Virginia, where MicroStrategy had moved to, and established that district as his domicile, so his home. By 2005, defendant Saylor moved into and permanently occupied a penthouse apartment located on the Georgetown waterfront. At this address, he spent millions of dollars basically taking 3 luxury condominium apartments and putting them together to make something called, that he now calls, after millions of dollars spent, the Trigate. Just the budget for custom woodworking exceeded $5 million for this. So here's some of the social media posts that he had posted. For example, here's one on March 15, 2015. He said, just to prove that he was living there and not in Florida, as apparently he had been listed as living in, which, as far as I know, still has no state income taxes. View from my Georgetown balcony this morning. Now I just need to finish renovating my apartment so I can move back in. For now, maybe I pitch a tent outside of the terrace. So this one is kind of rude, but he had said, gazing wistfully at my future home while I wait for James, who was his chief architect, the architect overseeing penthouse renovations, while I wait for James to crack the whip on the contractors and herd the cats. I wonder if Tony Stark would be so patient. That's kind of rude, man. Kind of an asshole thing to talk about with your contractors and so on. You're going to get your penthouse. Off to work. It is a perfect October morning on the Potomac, making it hard to leave home. So, yeah. Anyway, so apparently he has about $25 million in back taxes he hadn't paid since 2005. And so they're seeking to get penalties. They're trying to get disgorgement. They're trying to get everything they can, basically, out of this man for not having paid those taxes, so interest as well. I'm not sure what that total amount will sum up to, but based on $25 million, looking at a Bitcoin price of $20,000 about, we're talking only about 1,000 Bitcoin that have to be sold, because now the market is like, oh, this is going to be bearish. We're already worried about all the Bitcoiners that are going to be sold immediately from Mt. Gox that are going to be given out. This was on Sunday, by the way. This was a drama of the weekend. This was like huge rumors that were happening. Oh, it's going to be tomorrow on Sunday. Oh, they're going to release all the Bitcoin. Oh, all the VC seed money from Ethereum early on is all the vested money from the ICO are going to be released tomorrow, Sunday. And it's going to flood the market. And this was to create some sort of fear. I don't know who's trying to spread all this FUD over the weekend. But anyway, point being, this is supposed to join at least the Mt. Gox FUD, which might be more based in reality rather than seed vested money for Ethereum that, as far as I know, doesn't exist. But anyway, There will eventually be Mt. Gox funds that are issued, but there is no hard date on that. You can ask any Mt. Gox creditor. They're not able to get Bitcoin or cash deposited on some sort of exchange just yet. But it could be the case you have some sort of Bitcoin that have to be sold by Michael Saylor for this. But again, it will be only 1,000 Bitcoins, assuming that he has to even sell Bitcoin and not cash in order to pay the back taxes he owes. Of course, he's going to have some sort of interest and whatever on that, but I don't see it materially impacting the price. Some are saying that this is also, and this is just conjecture, why Michael Saylor recently stepped down as CEO and is now just on the board of MicroStrategy, maybe to avoid, I don't know, some sort of reputational harm for MicroStrategy, although they're being sued here as well at this time. So this is a developing story, as I've talked about before. As far as I've seen, Michael Saylor has not given any sort of commentary just yet, and I'm sure he might not give much since he probably has to be a little bit more mum. But the Bitcoin bull having to be mum is probably a change from, I guess, the uninspired tweeting that he's been doing recently. Now, we will move forward with another bit of story here. Let's see. He has a time horizon of like forever. Him being sued does not mean he is guilty in advance. Good point. That's why there has to be a trial here. And this, I've heard estimates take up to like a couple of years before we really get some sort of judgment handed down. Could also be some kind of turf battle, aka bitch fighting between DC and Florida. DC trying to get theirs. Anyway, Vitalik is going to be publishing his new book called Proof of Stake on September 27, 2022. You can pick up a digital copy, which will come with a non-transferable NFT. Although I heard apparently it's being listed on OpenSea, so how untransferable is it? But anyway, if you get this digitally signed book by Vitalik Buterin, he's going to be giving away all of his proceeds. He's going to give 10% to his publisher, who's supporting public goods and publishing of essays and books about that, 7 Stories Press. And 90% of the funds that are earned by Vitalik Buterin are going to go to the Gitcoin Grants matching pool to help fund public goods. So this could be quite good. I think the funding of public goods is one of the only things that is happening in modern society to make sure that we have more readily available public resources, like even water, that are protected, that we have vested goods that benefit humanity rather than just one centralized corporation. And so I think this is an altruistic move by Vitalik Buterin. He's done things in the past, like donating charity money, and for example, having sold his Shiba Inu coins to donate that to India in the billions rather than taking that for himself. So he's continuing along that line by taking his book and donating those books to charity or charitable causes, I guess you could say as well. So about the book, these writings are collected from his essays before and during the rise of Ethereum, reveal Buterin to be a vivid and imaginative writer, well, with context from media studies scholar Nathan Schneider. While many around him were focused on seeing the value of their tokens rise, he was working through the problems and possibilities of crafting an internet native world. So I guess grats to Vitalik Buterin for putting that together. Those are recent essays and past essays, so now all just writing for some sort of one purpose. But still, he has proven to be a good writer, and his blog has been quite popular even since the outset of Ethereum. So if that's of interest, you can check that out on proofofstake.gitcoin.co to pre-order that book. This is being taken down. So this was a website that became very popular before the release of Ethereum Improvement Proposal 1559, which is going to establish a brand new way of devising fees for Ethereum, like base fee, adding new functions. So not everything would be so variable, but you would have a lot of these fees that are over what's called a base fee being burned away. So this website came out called Watch the Burn, where you could see the amount of ETH that was being burnt, and they are about to close up shop, which is upsetting some people who've used it, for example, to estimate their what fee to be using for Ethereum if they manually input it, and some other information there like the Ethereum price. And you can get information about the blocks burnt, the ETH burnt per block, which is pretty cool. Oh, look, check out this one. Leet ETH was burnt. Wow, 13 seconds ago? That's awesome. Oh man, oh there it goes. Oh, that's a special one. We got that one live. Oh, so they said thank you for all 300,000 unique visitors who visited. Our mission was to showcase EIP 1559 and help out early with testnet and later with mainnet by showcasing the burn/tips and insights in real time as the blocks arrive. Over the last 15 months, God, it's been a long time already. We have seen 300,000 plus unique users with millions of page views a month. And anytime during the day, we saw 150 to 3,150 users watching the burn. Hope you all enjoy it, and the merge is right around the corner, which is even more exciting. We will end service on today, August 31st. Bummer. But if you have any questions for more information, you can reach out to Mohammed Mansour. If you still want to be able to check out what's coming up next and not following EIP 1559, instead following the merge, you can head over to ultrasound.money as a nice alternative. And you'll be able to see there just how close we are to the merge, which is only 13 days, 18 hours away. So less than 2 weeks looking at UTC time, not your local time. But still, we're right there on the cusp of the merge, which is expected to do a huge issuance reduction for Ethereum, where you have to have something like 20 million ETH being bought every single day just to keep the price afloat. It's going down about 90% of that to like 2 million. So that is going to be quite massive and quite bullish for this. Some saying it is Ethereum's version of Bitcoin's halvening, which tends to produce huge price increases. And I think for the most part, the community is saying, well, this isn't going to result in some immediate spike. We're not going to see a $10,000, $20,000 ETH next month. But over the longer term, as the fundamentals of this play out, you probably will have want to bought earlier rather than later. Anyway, take that for what it is. No promises there, of course, as I always like to mention, but just probably the most bullish narrative that I've seen for crypto recently is this merge. We're right along there. So I will finish with a quote related to crypto. So it looks like Brian Armstrong, the CEO of CoinDesk, did an interview, which is now on Spotify. It was through on Coinbase's Around the Block podcast. They came out to talk about decentralization, privacy, and incredibly neutral Ethereum. And Victor Bunnin went ahead and gave us a little brief of some of what was talked about there. Brian Armstrong said himself he wasn't super clear, but he was happy about the discussion himself. But I really like this fourth point here, which I thought was an interesting thing that I hadn't considered before, which is that good times, bullish times in crypto, create centralized projects. Bull markets tilt the scale from principles to expediency until a bear market tilts them back. Principles aren't just principles, they result in decisions that keep projects secure and mindsets that keep builders building. Yes, it's important, or it has been important in the past, to see crypto winters as a place where the seedlings are planted. Eventually, those blossom into something during spring, and those times that you do eventually reap the investments that you've studied, that you've looked at, the projects that have built out something that's actually useful, and they tend to be quite decentralized before eventually flood into the centralized. Even I fell for it, right? Centralized projects like the Celsius is out there, which confused even the mainstream, because then they're like, that's crypto, that's DeFi. No, it's not. That's centralized finance. That is not decentralized finance, which is what this is all about. Again, supporting economic freedom, financial inclusion, and so much more, at least for me. And so I will finish with this actual quote of the day here by Benjamin Franklin, which is, "They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Harsh but true words here, I think, by Benjamin Franklin, as time does tend to reveal the truth. So I'm just excited for what's happening in the background, the things that we don't realize that we need right now in crypto, and maybe even for humanity, that are currently being planted and being built up, which will blossom into something huge. Maybe you are working on something secretly. I'm so applauding your mission, and I can't wait to see what comes. Thank you for joining me and for supporting this show. A reminder, hit that like, subscribe, and share the video. It's a huge help for me, especially getting the channel restarted, so I can continue to keep us all on top of what's happening here. Take care. Much love, everyone, and stay cryptic. Peace.